My name's Tom Devlin. I'm a makeup effects artist. I also own Tom Devlin's Monster Museum in Boulder City, Nevada, and I started as a collector. Since I was a little guy, I was super into things like He-Man, Ninja Turtles, so I would set up my He-Man toys. I would set up my Toxic Crusaders. I would, use the play sets and whatever and the environment, and then take pictures of those said setups. When I was 12, we transplanted to a town called East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. And as we drove into town, we passed a costume shop called Frazetta's Fantasy Corner, and I had no idea what that meant and what that would mean to the rest of my life. In 9th grade, my art class, it was an advanced 2D drawing, took us over to the store and we got to meet Bill Frazetta, who was Frank Frazetta's son. The coolest thing about growing up near the Frazettas is it was like a secret club. Everybody knows Frank Frazetta's artwork. I mean, he's a wildly famous fantasy artist. Nobody seemed to understand that we had a local celebrity in town. At this time, Frank was very ill, but Bill owned the store, Frazetta's Fantasy Corner, and he told us all about his dad. We got to look through Frank's sketchbooks, and it was really, really cool. And at that moment, I realized his dad created Conan the Barbarian. He had done a lot of the Edgar Rice Burroughs covers, and that was where my influence was born. He had also been responsible for Heavy Metal Magazine and Glenn Danzig's logos, and it was only us nerdy kids that actually seemed to care about we had the godfather of fantasy art there. And without the Frazettas, I don't know that I would have found makeup effects. It all goes back to that 9th grade trip to the Frazetta's Fantasy Corner. As a teenager, myself and my girlfriend at the time, we fiended for Puppet Master. We loved Puppet Master. We were video store kids. We would go to Movies on the Move and rent every Puppet Master movie. And some of the greatest times of my adolescence were hunting the action figures. The puppets, they didn't play theatrical. They went straight to video stores. And back then, it wasn't negative to be direct to video. There was just nobody did it except for Full Moon. Full Moon put movies to tape before going to the theater so we could get our hands on them. And at the end of the credits, there was a thing called the Video Zone. And in the Video Zone, it was like a video magazine. And it was special features before DVD. I could see, oh my God, that's how you make a silicone matrix mold.
2 life-size mannequins, played by real-life actors, are required for the ultimate surprise of Puppet Master 2.
We didn't have Google, we didn't have the internet or YouTube, so I had Fangoria magazine, Gore Zone, which more pictures than words, and then the Video Zone is how I started practicing all this stuff as a kid. And then later in my career, I got to take over the Full Moon universe as a makeup effects artist. And I'll never forget, on my first Puppet Master film, it was Puppet Master X, Exodus Rising. They brought back the Video Zone for the first time in years, and they did a Video Zone spotlight on me.
The process of building the puppets from scratch is a lot different than what you see in the film. They're to look as if they're wooden and very rigid, but that is not the case. We sculpt them all out of clay from the head up, or the head to the toe. All their feet are different, their hands are different, their heads are different. We've taken liberty to put the quality I would have wanted to see as a fan into these characters, into the film that we're making.
So that was a bigger deal than working on the movie, because it was like, without Video Zone, I never would have started dabbling. So it was really cool to maybe think like, maybe this Video Zone will inspire another generation. I even got the opportunity to build a line of Tom Devlin original replicas, which are $200 to $300 full-scale replicas for collectors. So these guys right here are some of my remaining collection from when I was a kid. The Puppet Master figures were made by Charles Band through Full Moon. So they weren't put out by Kenner or Mattel or anything like that. So you really had to go to comic book stores and kind of hunt down all these variants. And then later in life, I get the responsibility and honor to create screen-accurate replicas for Full Moon. Once again, Charlie Band doesn't go through other companies. He had me do these, and I poured them up from movie molds. So we would change small parts up, but for the most part, these guys were designed to look exactly like the ones from part 1 and 2. This was our Leech Woman. That was my original toy. And then this was the the prop replica. And the coolest part about the Leech Woman prop replica is they had made other prop replicas of her before, but never an accurate one since this toy. And then, of course, Mephisto. Mephisto being from part 2 was one of my favorite characters from one of my favorite movies, and also a super rare action figure. So to get to create Mephisto and have that as my own, that was super special. At the end of the day, I'm really proud to have got to create something for collectors where I started as a collector. Whenever you need that, like, why am I doing this? There's no money, there's just stress. You can look at those action figures and then look at the big replicas behind them and be like, that's why I do this, because this is my childhood dream. And if I didn't, 12-year-old Tom would jump through a time portal and kick me in the nuts. About 2 years ago, a book came out, and it's called It Came from the B-Movie Aisle, The Story of Full Moon. And the first 4 chapters are about all my heroes, Rappaport, John Buechler, Gabe Bartalos, like people I looked up to my whole life. And then chapter 4, 5, and 6 is Tom Devlin. And it's like, whoa! I was so busy chasing my dream for years, I didn't realize I was living it. And right now, we just started production last week on Blade the Iron Cross. I'm putting everything I have into this Blade movie, and it will be my child's play, my maximum opus. So I got to hang out with one of my all-time favorite, #1 influences, John Carl Buechler. He's an effects artist, he's a director. So we were just having a great conversation, and I just told him, man, I respect everything he does and did, but I don't understand how he made a living. He said, Tom, what you need to do is you need to come up with a way to use your art to make outside income so you can raise your family and have a life. And when you come to a town like Boulder City, I often describe it as the town that time forgot. And since I've been here, I've kind of become one of the front runners of adding entertainment and roadside attractions in this town. I also own a place called the Dinosaur Adventure where you can ride animatronic dinosaurs. And here you can walk through the history of filmmaking. In my mind, the museum is here to preserve the art and history of practical effects.